Before you watch the video I'm about to play you, I want you to answer the following question. Should a man raise his hand to a woman? Is there ever a time and a place, a circumstance whereby it warrants a man to raise his hand to a woman? Or should a woman never be hit by a man regardless of what she does to him in the way of provoking him, including if she hits him herself? Is it right for a man to ever raise his hand on another woman? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments before you watch this video.
You haven't lost your mind. Don't touch me ever in your life. You touch me first and then you got in my face. Don't ever invade my space.
Get out of my face!
No, I'm here.
You're
touching me again. You're touching me again. You're touching me again.
It's all on camera.
It surely is.
You touched
It
me.
surely, but you in my
You're
personal
ugly out of
space.
face.
You're in my personal space. Stay out of my personal space. She's touching me. She's touching me. And I'm telling you, don't put
I've just noticed whilst editing this video that they actually cut out the part where she raised her hand to him, because I saw the original video on Instagram reel, but I couldn't find it. They actually cut it out. They cut it out, the part where she actually raises her hand to him. That gives you an idea of what type of propaganda or what type of feeling this news outlet are trying to provoke inside of you. The aggressive, out of control, big black man. That's the type of feeling and narrative they're trying to give you by cutting that bit out. Oh my days.
Hey, relax, relax. Relax. I fight whoever.
Before I continue playing this, you know, a man would never raise his hand to another man unless he is prepared to fight him. And it is very rare that a man will actually raise his hand to another man on a street altercation like this, because we understand the consequences of doing so, of triggering a physical altercation. And this gentleman with the burgundy polo neck jumper, whatever it is, he works at the airport. He is clearly a big man, and by the looks of it, a strong man, a very big, strong man. The only reason that that lady had the audacity and nerve to slap him around the face was because she wholly believed that there would be no consequences to her actions. If she believed, as all men do, that if she struck this man, he might hit her back, she would never have done that. And I want you to simmer on that point. I want that point to brew in your mind that I have just made to you. Because us men know, if I hit my guy, he's going to hit me back and it's all going to get a bit mad. So you know what? Let's try and resolve this through some type of verbal speech. As it appears, this other gentleman who's called the White Knight, the Savior, Captain Zavaho, the one who's just come into the picture now, as it appears he is trying to do. Let's continue. I want to pay specific attention to the body language, because the gentleman in purple here, he's still very riled up. Let's continue playing the video.
I fight whoever. Take a deep breath. Put your hands on me. Whoever. Put your hands. I fight whoever.
All right, straight away, the guy, Captain Saverho in the blue shirt, he's not about that life. He has conceded immediately before any physical altercation has taken place between him and the other guy, the guy in purple, that the guy in purple is a superior. He's no match for him. The guy in blue, is no match for the guy in purple. So the reason why he's put his hands behind his back is this is a passive stance of, I'm not trying to hurt you. My hands are tied. Literally, you know the metaphor. My hands are tied. They're behind my back. I'm not trying to hurt you. And you can see as well, the guy in purple, he is up in the other guy's face, whereas the guy in blue, he's turning away. He's deflecting. So his hands are tied behind his back, and he's deflecting. And the guy in purple has put his hands behind his back as well, because he's mimicking the body language of the guy in blue. Because I can assure you, despite the fact that this guy in purple is obviously much bigger and stronger, he doesn't want to fight either. My guy doesn't want to lose his job over some next woman, bruv. Do you understand? He doesn't want to lose his job over this nonsense. So he doesn't want to fight as much as the guy in blue. But egos have been stirred. Egos have been inflamed. And now, obviously, he's trying to save face a little bit.
I'll fight whoever. Knock your bitch ass out. Knock me out. Knock me out.
So very interesting. Once again, you could see towards the end of that clip that the guy in blue was talking over the head of the guy in purple and around him. He's not about that life. He is no match for the guy in purple. The guy in purple is clearly physically stronger, heavier, bigger, etc. Okay, but this is besides the point. Now, I asked you at the beginning of this video, is there ever occasion where a man is justified in raising his hand to a woman, as this guy did? He didn't just raise his hand to her, he charged at her and knocked her over like a bowling pin. Obviously, he's 50 times the size of her, although she's a pretty big woman herself, but he's a man. And he's a very strong man at that. 12 to 20 times more testosterone than she has, the primary strength hormone or hormone responsible for building muscle and strength. Is there ever a time when it is justified to raise your hand to a woman? Yes or no? After you have watched this video, what is your opinion? Is there ever a time where it is justified for a man to raise his hand to a woman? Allow me to give you my personal take on this. I know for a fact, unequivocally, that there is absolutely a time and place for a man to raise his hand on a woman. Now, I'm not telling you you're going to disfigure her. I'm not telling you you're going to completely dismantle her. Of course not. But, and pay close attention to this, remember what I said earlier in the video, that the reason why men don't get up in each other or will not just randomly smack another man, the reason why we don't do that until the last resort is because we know that it's going to get messy. Someone's going to get hurt. Even if I beat him up, I might break a few bones along the way. Is it really worth it? Probably not. Let's try and resolve this differently. It is the very last resort that men resort to physical violence to sort out their differences. We might cuss and swear and all the rest of it, but we really don't want to fight on the street. We don't. I don't care how much about that life you are. Some obviously have a greater inclination than others, but generally speaking, towards fighting that is, but generally speaking, a man doesn't want to. And therefore, by extension, he will not hit another man across the face because he knows that it's going to be arms after that. This woman here has conducted herself in a manner whereby she clearly believes, regardless of what she does to this guy, who is clearly her physically superior to her in, more ways than one, she doesn't believe that he will hit her back. She actually went out of her way to smack him. She went out, reached over to smack him. Why? Because she didn't believe that she would get smacked in return. Now I'll ask you another follow-up question. Do you think if this woman gets into an altercation with a man in the street or in the airport or wherever, the mall, restaurant, it doesn't matter, what do you think the chances are that she will raise her hand to another man again? We can unanimously agree that the likelihood of her raising her hand to another man has decreased dramatically. It has decreased dramatically. Why? Because my guy here has just placed the fear of God inside her. Yes, that must have been a terrifying experience, seeing this Goliath of a man charging at her. Literally knocked her over like a pin, a bowling pin. Now, I will tell you this. Your women in your household, they must absolutely know, unequivocally, without you having to communicate, that if they cross a line, there is a potential, there is a possibility that they will receive some sort of physical response from you. A light one, of course, but a physical response nonetheless. And do you know what the beauty of this is? Because all of the women in my household know this. They know that I don't believe in this crap of a woman should never be hit. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. There is a time and a place where a woman should feel the sting of a clip around the ear. Light, small, light, but enough to remind her, to wake her up. Whoa, I need to behave myself. As Allah has mentioned already in the Quran, you know the verse. Light, but still it is there. And you know the beauty of a woman who recognizes and knows unequivocally that you are not a man who has bought into this false idea, false narrative that a woman should never be hit, even if she hits you. Do you know what the beauty is of this? Is that the women, they never cross the line. They never cross the line. They might get upset. They might get rude sometimes, but they will not cross the line. She will not come out of you and whack you, because she knows that she's going to get whacked back. Consequences. Why does the law, courts, the police, why do we have them for? For what? What's the purpose of them? What's the purpose of a prison? What's the purpose of penal law? Death sentence. What's the purpose of all of that? They are consequences to what? Bad behavior. If there were no consequences, if you did not fear being arrested, thrown into a cell, and potentially, depending on which country you live, losing your life, if you didn't fear that, you'd commit all sorts of crimes left and right. It's the fear of consequences, the fear of being whacked by the law.